Hi, I'm Chef John Politte. This is It's Only Food.
These rappers don't listen, well let me show them something. You hear that beat bumping from the soul kitchen. Now what you fixing up? Good food, soul food, come and pick it up. These rappers don't listen, well let me show them something. You hear that beat bumping from the soul kitchen. Yeah, now what you fixing up? Good food, soul food, come and pick it up. Hey yo, I never been so paid that I could forget. All I could remember is the po days. Not a damn.
Alright, today Tuscan potato soup, black beans, apple smoked bacon, ham, sliced ham. We got our yellow and green zucchini, fall vegetables. Star of the show right here, white russet potatoes, leaving the peel on. They've already been cooked. We got some corn. We got some diced tomatoes and juice. Red onions, my favorite chicken base. We will be talking about this later. All-purpose flour. We got some olive oil, and of course our rosemary, garlic, and bay leaf. Here's our equipment. We're going to use our basic knife, and we got our spoons, one for cooking the raw and one for cooking and stirring the cooked food, garlic press, bowl, and of course the soup pot. Now the first thing to remember before you start cutting, it's the first thing, is to anchor your cutting board. You don't want it to be sliding around everywhere. You can use a wet towel, and it won't be flying everywhere when you're trying to cut, and then you end up cutting your arm off and you got to go to the hospital, and then you can't enjoy the soup. So use a steel to get the hone on the edge on your knife so you got a nice surface to cut with. We're going to start off with our onion. Just cut off the north and the south pole of the onion. That's both where you can see the tips on both ends. That's your north and south pole. Then you just pop it a little bit, get that skin off. This is a tough one, so I'm going to have to take off the first layer because the skin won't come off without the first layer coming with it. So get all that skin off of there as much as you don't, and then you just go right through from the north pole to the south pole, not equator, but the poles. That's why you got to study in school, kids, so you know your geography too. And we're just going to slice along north and south. Using the base of the knife, the heavy part of the knife, you can just chop right through it. Gravity is your friend here. Then you just chop down through there, kind of slicing here, but you've got a heavier knife. The knife I've got right now is not a very heavy knife. But that's perfectly diced. I mean, it's nature's, this onion is the greatest thing to start off with because it'll naturally dice itself if you cut it the right way. Sometimes you can cut through different layers and it'll give you a mince as you cut through too, but we're not going to do that because we want prominent flavor and prominent colors and size in our soup today. We all have different ways of doing things, but I like to have bigger chunks of stuff in my soups because I want it to look homemade. Everything's diced and uniform. It looks like a machine did it and then it was shoved into a can, so I like to have a signature style, big chunky kind of things so everybody knows it's homemade. And you can use your knife as a little carry-all to get your vegetables in there. Be sure you're not scraping it on your cutting board or you'll ruin the edge of your knife. So be careful you don't cut your hand off too. Then we just take our squash. This has been washed. You just cut off both ends. The same as I said with signature style. I'm going to do a half medallion. You can slice these into slices, whole medallions. You can cut it into little cubes, however you want to do it. But you also want to remember that if you've got one side, you want to chop them about the same size because thickness, one takes longer to cook, one takes less time to cook. So you keep your things uniform no matter how you do it. Make sure you're all cutting it the same way no matter how you do it. Uniform, uniform, uniform. So got our yellow one cut. Now we're gonna get that last little bit out. There you go. Skin. Chop off the tips. Right down the middle. Chop, 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 chop. This is the yellow and the green zucchini. Remember to use your fingernails as a guide. You can just kind of chop. You got a guide. It's giving you an edge. You're not going to cut off your fingers that way. by holding it with your fingers sticking out. Always have your fingernails there. They won't get cut so bad. If you do, the fingernail has a tendency to kind of stop it. So. Alright, we got our zucchini cut. Let's move along here to our ham. Of course, this isn't a big player in this thing. The only reason the ham's in there, I think, is it's going to add a little flavor profile, smokiness of the ham, like the bacon. So I'm just going to cut it into little chunks, kind of a cube dice. It's all sliced, so this isn't for looks. This is more for flavor. So that's in there. Of course, star of the show is the white russet potato. They've been cooked and washed. I'm not going to peel them because peel is good for you. I like to leave that in. That adds a hardiness to it too. We're going to do the same thing with the squash. You'll see here it's the same kind of cut. But you got to remember when you're stirring it while it's cooking, get that spoon in there and start stirring it around. It will break up the potatoes because they've been cooked. So just kind of remember that. But it's nice to practice doing the same kind of cut. That way, the more practice, the better you get. So I think what we'll do is we'll just end up getting the rest of these all cut up. And then we'll put them in a bowl and we'll start cooking the bacon. Got a lot of potatoes here, so here we go. Yep, I'm going to add a little olive oil in here to kind of season up the pan a little bit. I know we're going to have a little bit of the bacon fat will be produced when we cook the bacon, and it won't stick. I just like to add a little olive oil to introduce. When you heat the pot up, you got a little bit of oil in there, so when you add your whatever ingredient you're adding won't stick to the pan. So I'm just going to slide the bacon right off of there. Go wash my hands and the cutting board. Gonna stir that up, break it up a little bit, get it going, get it cooking. And what I like to do is I like to cook my onions, my aromatics, at the same time that the bacon's cooking. I don't know why. My first chef never explained to me why this was an important step in cooking, but I've been doing this for so long that I forgot why I do it. But I should have put these in a separate bowl, but that's all right. That's all right. All this stuff's gonna end up in the pot together anyway. But we've got our red onions cooking with the bacon. Oh, there's a couple squash in there. They're testing the waters. Here's another aromatic we got is our garlic in our lovely garlic press. So squeeze that in there. You open it up and you still got the skin and all the good allicin and the chemicals and the chemical called allicin, which makes the garlic aromatic and healthy. Squeezes right in there and leaves the pulp and the skin in there. So this is a great garlic press. I really do like it. Whoop, I'm gonna get that out of there. And we squeeze that off there, and we get our knife and we can just swipe that off so we don't waste any. Oh, that smells good already. Just smells good. And we're gonna stir that up, get those aromatics mixed up with the bacon, let that cook. I think we'll just pop a lid on that, let that cook for a little bit. All right. Oh, that smells good. Look at that. Oh, I wish you could smell that at home. You can see it cooking in there. The onions are all cut up and in there with the bacon. Then we're going to add the rest of our veggies in. We got our squash and our hams in there too. Don't forget we got the ham in there. I think what we'll do here is we'll just kind of add a little bit of olive oil because we're going to be making a little tiny roux into this. We want as much fat as we can get in here. Salt and pepper. And we got to remember the olive oil is a healthy fat too. So we don't need much salt because we got the ham and the bacon in there. Let's stir this up, give it a nice quick stir, then we'll put a lid back on this baby and let it cook and soften up those vegetables. And I think what we'll do after that is we'll start making our roux right in there. So yeah, that smells great. Okay, so what we're going to do now is introduce a little flour into here to tighten it up before we start adding our liquid ingredients and our other vegetables. Yeah, that's nice and soft now. The bacon is cooked all the way. Smells wonderful. And throw a little flour in here. I'm about a half a cup, maybe a little more, 3/4 cup. I'm going to stir that in there. You can see it marrying into that fat and oil that we put in here. That's smelling real good. That's looking real good. That'll tighten it up a little bit. We don't want to make it a thick paste like we do with a country gravy or a chili or whatever. Oh, yeah. Then we got to add the chicken base too. We forgot about the chicken base. This is probably one of the most important things in my repertoire, is my favorite ingredient outside of duck fat. But this adds a layer of depth and just a layer of flavor into this dish, and texture, that's just unbelievably hard to beat. Then we're going to add our diced tomatoes in here. Okay, and we're going to add our corn. Oh, better get all of it. Then let's get our black beans and throw those in. Okay, I think we're going to need our bay leaf next. Oh, a little bit of water. Yeah, a little water in here. Stir that up. So we did have a roux in here, so we don't want to make sure we're getting it too thick. Introduce some liquid into this. Then our bay leaf, a couple of them. That's one of my things. I love to put bay leaves in everything. Just ask any of my wait stuff. And we got some rosemary. Throw that in there. Always use fresh ingredients when you can do it. This is its only food. We don't have a whole lot of money, so we're doing what we can here, but we're making it for you. Marjoram, the unsung hero of the kitchen. Fresh basil, because we got tomatoes in there. This is a Tuscany dish, remember. Italian, Italian, Italian. It's not like spaghetti or meatballs or lasagna. This is a Tuscan region of Italy, so it's going to be a hearty, earthy dish. Look at the colors in there, and the flavor is just amazing. Add a little more water in there. About another cup and a half, 2 cups. Stir that in there. Yep, want it a little bit loose because we're going to add the potatoes into it next. And that's going to thicken it. So, oh, there you go. There's our white russet potatoes with the peel on, fully cooked. Add that in there. Not room in that pan anymore. Everything's full. So, that is smelling good, looking good. And I bet this is just hearty. This will fill you up on a fall or winter day, I'll tell you. Alright, we're going to let this cook down for about, half an hour to 45 minutes. Let those flavors all introduce each other to each other. And then we're going to be back. Alright, let's plate this up. Oh, look at that. Hot. All the flavors have gotten to know each other. They're all in there making a big party. And now we're going to put this in a bowl. Yeah. About 2 ladles in here. That's enough for a meal. Wipe that off, make it look pretty. Yeah, that's potatoes, beans, corn, tomatoes, rosemary, basil, chicken stock, potatoes, onions, bacon, ham, a little bit of everything in there. So that is looking good. You can serve this up with some bread. Okay, well, we made the Tuscan potato soup. It's got the tomatoes and the corn and the ham, bacon, potatoes, rosemary, chicken stock. It's got, it's the earthiness of the rosemary and all the vegetables, and the corn gives it a little sweetness, so it makes it a very, very hearty soup. This is fall right now up here in Minnesota, so this is a very good dish to make, but it's a good dish to make for any time of the year. So I would like to thank you for joining again. It's Only Food. We had a great time. We made the soup, and I'd just like to remind you that if you're out to eat and you're enjoying a meal out, or anywhere there's people that work in the food service industry, give them a shout, give them a great thank you, and tell them that they're doing a great job. Because yeah, they do get paid and they do get enough tips, but sometimes, when you're busy, the best thing you can hear is, hey, thank you for waiting on us. You did a wonderful job. Tell the chef the food was terrific. Even tell the dishwasher you did a good job, because let me tell you, if you don't have a dishwasher in the food service industry, you don't have anything. So shout out to everybody that works in the food industry. We love you, and I'm supporting you all the way. Thanks again. Make sure you go to YouTube and look at our address right here. Click on this, subscribe, and share it with your friends. All right? You take care. Thanks for watching It's Only Food.
These rappers don't listen, well let me show them something. You hear that beat bumping from the soul kitchen. Now what you fixing up? Good food, soul food, come and pick it up. These rappers don't listen, well let me show them something. You hear that beat bumping from the soul kitchen. Yeah, now what you fixing up? Good food, soul food, come and pick it up. Hey yo, I never been so paid that I could forget. All I could remember is the po days. Not a damn thing in that stove days. Turbulent home days. Sometimes I used to burn with my homemades. I'm still hiding them pearls and dropping them gems. Hatred, I took it out on the world. All I got in me is my balls and my honesty. Visions of the day.